A while back, I tested positive for COVID-19, and I've been making videos talking about what my experience has been like and updating people on my progress. I have had a very light, less than mild case of COVID-19 compared to others. I've been very fortunate. Today, I want to talk about, first of all, I have an update. I told you all yesterday that I was going to get my first of two tests this morning to see if I'm contagious or not. And the idea, I got this from an article about that came out of Harvard that recommends, if you want to scientifically see if you are still contagious after knowing that you have had COVID-19, and you want to see if you can come out of isolation. The scientific way to do that is to get two tests within 24 hours between the two of them. No medication to reduce your fevers, and your symptoms need to be at least improving, if not completely gone. And if you can get a negative result on both of those tests 24 hours apart, then your chance of being non-contagious is very high, and that's good information to have. Now, some people have said in the comments to the video yesterday that a lot of people will just test positive even after recovering from COVID-19, even up to 90 days after first contracting the virus, and that's true. So I could still very well test positive even just on one of the tests, and it could just be residual from the virus being in my system. And in that case, I have to maintain my isolation if that's the case. If I get one positive test result, then I'm going to continue. I'll have to decide how long I'm going to continue my isolation until I test again to see if I'm contagious. But because I live with someone else who is immunocompromised, I have to take these extra measures to make sure that I'm not giving my wife the virus. I'm not making her sick. But one thing I want to talk about that I didn't talk about in yesterday's video is the one item that is most coveted among COVID-19 patients, aside from being distant from other people so they don't catch any airborne virus from you. The one thing that is most coveted above all else is disinfectant spray and bleach. And it is very hard to come by things like Lysol in the stores now because people are hoarding it. It's in high demand. And when I first tested positive for COVID-19, I went online to see where I could buy some Lysol spray and get it delivered to me. And it was ridiculous. I was seeing cans of Lysol at the time being sold for $100 online, and the cheapest single can of Lysol that I could find at the time was $30. So one tip I have for you if you're looking for a disinfectant spray is go off brand. Most people are going to Lysol. So go to other brands that might be even more eco-friendly anyways. One brand that I went to was Honest, and I ordered $50 worth of their disinfectant spray, and it's more eco-friendly. It's natural. It contains natural ingredients that are safe for the environment. So it's a natural disinfectant spray. The reason why disinfectant spray and bleach are so coveted, especially among people like me who don't live alone, is because I'm trying to not just distance myself from my household, by staying isolated in this room entirely alone. This is day 12, by the way. I slightly, in a very controlled manner, broke my isolation just to go out and get tested for COVID-19 this morning. But I stayed in the car and I sprayed the car down when I left it with disinfectant spray. But that's the thing is, yesterday I was talking about how being a COVID-19 patient, isolating in your house, especially when you're living with someone else, is, first of all, it's a game of touching the least amount of surfaces possible. And so I'm wearing a mask if I have to use the bathroom, and that's the only time I ever leave this room. Then I have a mask on and I have gloves on at all times. Never take it off. Nothing's ever beneath the nose or under the chin. It's a proper mask and it's always covering my nose and mouth tightly. But the other thing is I'm spraying disinfectant behind me when I leave the bathroom. I'm spraying down every surface that I touched or walked on. And the other thing too is I was debating when I first went into isolation about showers. I figured it would be important for me to have a shower for obvious hygiene reasons, but also my mother-in-law over the phone was talking about it's just important to try to wash the virus off of you if at all possible. And I knew that, excuse me, I have some a little bit of congestion coming up in my throat, but nothing too bad. But I need to disinfect the shower behind me because I live in an apartment with my wife and we only have one bathroom. It's really nice when you can have a bathroom to yourself when you're isolating, but a lot of us can't do that. Maybe that's the most coveted item for a COVID-19 patient, is having their own bathroom while they're in isolation. But that's just not possible for a good many of us. But disinfectant spray. After I take a shower, I'm bleaching. I'm taking like 30 minutes to bleach the shower, the whole walls, the tub, everything when I'm done. And then after I bleach the tub really well, rinse it down, the handles, everything. I try not to use the sink if at all possible. And I come back to my room. Since I have gloves on anyways when I'm in the bathroom, even in the shower, I wear a mask in the shower and gloves. When I leave the bathroom, I take the gloves off. I throw everything away. Everything, all of my garbage is in one garbage bag in my isolation room. I don't throw anything away outside of that room, not in the bathroom trash can, not in the kitchen trash can. I don't throw anything away that touches me in any other trash can other than the one in my isolation room. So with that said, I don't really use the sink all that much. I take gloves off when I come back into my room, and then I use hand sanitizer, and I cleanse my hands and my arms every time I come back in the room with hand sanitizer. But I'm spraying behind me. I'm spraying disinfectant spray on the toilet, on the floor, in the shower, even after I bleach it. I know you're not supposed to mix chemicals, and I normally don't, but this time I'm taking extra precautions because I'm not going to get my wife sick. If there's anything I can do about that, I'm going to do everything in my power to make sure that she doesn't get sick, and nobody else for that matter. So disinfectant spray is critical. So go out, don't hoard. I just got 3 bottles of spray for our house, and I do have COVID-19. So don't hoard, don't buy cases of Lysol or other disinfectant sprays and hoard it. You don't need to do that. I just bought enough that to get us through a prolonged period of isolation. What else? A lot of people were asking for me to clarify about what my symptoms were, what tipped me off to having COVID-19. And everyone's case is different. And I also need to warn you that my case was super light. I'm super lucky. Even by having a cold or a flu standard, it was very light. I simply had congestion in one of my nostrils that came up one night, just instantaneously. I felt great one moment, and then in the next instant, congestion just suddenly appeared in one of my nasal cavities, and all that amounted to the next day was maybe slight dripping of the nose, and I didn't even have much of a fever. I think I might have had a fever on day 2 of isolation, and it wasn't for very long. I think I felt my forehead and it felt hot, and it was about a few hours that I had it, less than a handful of hours, and it wasn't very much to speak of. But I had very light symptoms, so don't take my case as gospel. I would say things to look out for is congestion, anything that makes you feel like you might have a cold or a flu. Isolate immediately. If you have a sore throat, true, it could be because cold air came in through the window last night while you were sleeping and it'll be gone. But isolate, and if it goes away, then it goes away. Go get tested. If you have chest pain, severe chest pain, isolate. If you're vomiting, isolate. If what else? If you're sneezing a lot, if you're sneezing even just a little bit more than normal, and you don't think it's just dust, isolate and get tested. So anything that might also, if it becomes hard to breathe, pay attention to that. A lot of people, they're just getting stressed out and they think that their chest feels heavy. But one tip that I've been telling people is, if you feel like you're having a little bit of difficulty breathing, if it's very light, then what I would do is take some time to isolate, watch a show that really relaxes you. And then when you're done with the show, I want you to think back to when you were watching the show. Did you notice that you're having difficulty breathing while watching the show, while you were relaxing and isolating? Get yourself into a really relaxed state, something that really keeps you calm, something that you really enjoy. Do that, and look back on the time when you're done and ask yourself, did I feel like I had a sore throat at the time? Did I feel like it was hard to breathe? It is a little bit hard for me to breathe, but I'm not going to the hospital because I can still take a deep breath. Doesn't take too much effort. One thing I've noticed, and this might really literally be a bone thing, maybe I need to get adjusted or something, but I feel as though one of my ribs needs to like just kind of crack and release pressure. It almost feels as though it's a sharp discomfort. I wouldn't call it a pain. It's a discomfort in my left lung. That's something that I've been experiencing as of late yesterday and into today. But that's how things are going. I did go take the test this morning. Back to that, I would say when you go to get tested, arrive an hour earlier than your appointment. I've been testing a lot over the last few months. My wife and I have both been testing a lot, and it used to be that we would just drive in and they would have this little claw thing. They would extend the packet, the kit to us through the window. We'd swab our mouths, put it in the tube, shake it, put it in the bag, drop it off, and we're done. But nowadays, you need to get there an hour before your appointment. And the reason being is, at least here where I'm living, I'm not joking, there's no exaggeration. The line of cars, even before the place opens, is miles long. And it snakes through this neighborhood and then down one of the major streets for about a half a mile down the major street, but it's snaking all through the residential streets of that neighborhood surrounding the test center. And so it takes a good hour to get your kit now. And I would imagine, since there's no such thing as a hot spot in the US anymore, everywhere is a hot spot, I would imagine that lines are longer in any test center, in any town, any city in the United States. So arrive early is my tip to you. Again, isolate whenever you feel sick. If you feel a little inkling of being sick, isolate immediately. Don't hoard, but buy some disinfectant spray for your house. And learn to get it in your head that I don't need to be afraid to isolate. And say to yourself, if you're ever in the position where you've come down with, where you've caught COVID-19, you need to make it a habit to spray the surfaces that you've touched when you leave a room, and you need to limit the rooms that you're in. And my wife never comes in this room. Nobody that lives with you should enter the room that you're in. This thing is airborne. It comes from droplets of your saliva in your talking, and coughing, and sneezing, and breathing. Another thing that I would say is, if you go to jog outside and you go to exercise and you don't have COVID-19, or at least you're not aware that you have it, maybe you're asymptomatic, hopefully you don't have it, I bless you to not have it, wear a mask when you're running, because we live around a college campus and there are students who don't wear masks. And when we're just trying to get simple exercise and distance ourselves from people, there are students, mostly students, other people too, who will run by you, right next to you, and they'll be breathing all heavy because they're running, and they'll run by you. And this thing is airborne, and it comes from droplets coming out of your nose, your mouth. And I can't tell you how many times Carla and I have even been on a wide sidewalk with nobody around us, and somebody decided to run right by us with no mask on, breathing heavily. And it just makes me so angry. So we've had to limit our walks outside. So if you go riding a bike, if you go to ride bikes, or go jogging, go running outside, or go to exercise, wear a mask, please. And be distant from people. Don't run right by them. There's no reason to do that. Wait for people to walk through a narrow path if you have to, and let them pass through, and then go through when nobody's there. But please wear a mask when you go outside to exercise. It still matters. It doesn't matter that you're outside. You need to still not be in the vicinity of other people, and you need to not be breathing heavily around other people. So those are the things that as a COVID patient myself, I'm very aware of. Looking back to when I was going outside, and even up till today, on day 12 total isolation, aside from the test that I took today. So we'll see if I get a negative. I'll get my test result for this test tomorrow, sometime tomorrow. And then I take another test tomorrow morning, and then I'll receive that result the following day. So let's hope that I have 2 negative results and I can be assured that I'm not contagious to my wife. I'll check in with you all tomorrow. Be blessed, be safe, wear your mask, don't go visit family, don't be around people outside of don't encounter people outside of your household. Keep it just to provisions and going to work, and that's it. Be safe, everyone. God bless.